Happy Friday, parish orphans and retrogrades. Today, we talk about Father James Altman, who's been in the news a lot lately. Not such a happy Friday for him. We found out early this morning that as of yesterday, he has lost his faculties as directed by Bishop Callahan. LifeSite News reports early this morning, late last night actually, Bishop William Patrick Callahan of the La Crosse Diocese sent Father James Altman a note via FedEx today informing him he has been removed as pastor of St. James the Less Parish and that his priestly faculties are suspended. The outspoken cleric told LifeSite News. I'm going to read you briefly what the decree includes. It remains to be seen whether Bishop Callahan will forcefully remove Father James and his 90-year-old parents at the parish rectory, from the parish rectory where they live. They have not been yet, but it's a 9-part decree. Listen to the particulars. I'm going to read them right this instant. Father James Altman, number 1, will not be given a commendatory letter, also known as a celebrate, and as a consequence, can celebrate the Holy Eucharist only in private with no members of the faithful present, with the exception of his parents. Number 2, the faculty of Father James Altman of preaching everywhere is herewith restricted, citing Canon 764, meaning he should be getting punished for something just. We believe otherwise, parish orphans and retrogrades. Number 2 continues, as of now, Father Altman is no longer allowed to preach. Number 3, in order to be able to assist at marriages, an inactive priest needs delegation. Such delegation can be denied for just and proportionate reason, even apart from a delict. We have reserved the decision about giving delegation to assist at marriages to Father James Altman to us and have decided that the conditions for granting the delegation are missing. Father James Altman is not, number 4, to be permitted to administer the sacrament of baptism. Only in well-defined circumstances, that is, in individual cases for members of his family, can permission be given to administer the sacrament of baptism. Such permission will be given by us or by a vicar general or vicar for clergy. Number 5, Father James Altman is to reside within the boundaries of the Diocese of La Crosse. If assistance is needed to procure such a residence, contact the vicar for clergy. Number 6, Father James Altman is instructed to regularly meet with our vicar for clergy at least once a month unless directed otherwise. Number 7, Father James Altman is invited to begin at a date to be established in mutual agreement by himself and by our vicar for clergy, a 30-day spiritual retreat, re-education camp, to give him the possibility to spiritually heal and to recharge and to address the issues that caused the issuance of this decree. Bear in mind, parish orphans and retrogrades, with regard to number 7, that this is a stiffer penalty than many bishops over the last decades chose to assign to caught molesters, right? They gave them either a slap on the wrist or nothing, because after all, the bishops really only oppose priests like Father James Altman, not the criminal molesters. All too often, we've seen that be the case. I'm not speaking for all bishops. I'm saying too many. Approaching most even? Question mark. Number 8, the ministerial restrictions imposed by this decree are not imposed for perpetuity, but for an indeterminate period of time. Oh, good. That is, until the cause has ceased to exist. What would the cause be? Veritas, right? Speaking the truth, preaching clearly, letting your yes mean yes and your no mean no. The way Father James Altman follows Christ's direct mandate for teaching. It is primarily the responsibility of Father James Altman to make sure that this cause ceases to exist. He's got to stop saying the truth and stop saying it so clearly. Remember, with regard to number 8, the main impetus for all of this trouble was his clear teaching that you can't vote for Democrats because the thoroughgoing red thread throughout the Democrat Party platform is pro-abortion at all stages, for all women, at all times, in all states, unto perpetuity. He says, look, you can't, as a Catholic in good conscience, vote for a Democrat until they change this. You know, the USCCB can't stand for that. They can't stand for that, right? I opine with some evidence that the USCCB can't afford not to be in bed with the Democrats. Finally, number 9, ninth part of this decree, any violations of the present decree by Father Altman may warrant further restrictions and may lead to the imposition of ecclesiastical sanctions. Now, we could take action by contacting Bishop Callahan at 608-788-7700. That number, which I'll be calling on air in a short minute, is 608-788-7700 to speak with the Susan from the parish council, who will pick up the phone and let her know, acting on behalf of the diocese, that Father James Altman deserves reinstatement. Look, people, the bishops are terrified of confrontation. If they have to confront hundreds, thousands of your calls, who knows what they'll do? I guess they'll just disconnect the phones, but this is what we need to do. Or at dbrannan at diolc.org. I'm not sure if that's the bishop's email or it's not so clear from here, or if it's the vicar general, or maybe the acting new pastor. But that number to call for Bishop Callahan's office is 608-788-7700. Remember, the only thing they really care about is popularity. The only thing that they strive for is an ill-gotten peace, peace and quiet, not hearing from you. So let's let their phones ring and let them know our displeasure at the prospect of Father James Altman being removed. Unbelievable, is it not? No, of course it's not. It's totally believable. But just think of this, parish orphans and retrogrades. Think of it. Father James S.J. runs around doing whatever in hell he wants. I don't even want to think of what that entails or includes. And because it's unthinkable. And he's got the sanction of the Pope, his bishop, everyone who has power in the Roman Curia and in the diocesan power structure. And who is to blame? Who needs spiritual healing according to the power structure, the hierarchs in the church? Father James Altman, for teaching clearly what the true gospel is. Let your yes mean yes and your no mean no. Moral theology in particular is the watchword. You just can't teach clearly on this. You have to obscure it, and you have to say up is down, down is up, if you want to be in the good graces of most of your ordinaries out there. I'm going to place a call. Why not? Hey, it's a Friday. We're all a little less busy on Fridays. Let's place this call. I hope you will do the same. I'll read the number at the end of the show one more time. Really quick, I would encourage you strongly to go to realestateforlife.org. Move, if you live in a blue state, to a red state, like I did. Get from the bluest of the blue, California, to the reddest of the red, Mississippi, in my case, or wherever you're from. If it's not a good red state, if it's not in the southeast of this country, I would urge you to reconsider. The folks at realestateforlife.org will help you. They're good people, mostly Catholics, and they will show you that this is not as big a hassle as you're assuming. I mean, it's a hassle, but it's not that big of a hassle, and it can be mitigated. Also, get your kids out of the schools, public or Catholic. Homeschool them. I'll help you do it. I know a lot of people are on the borderline or on the fence here. No need to be. Go to Retrograde Classical Academy. If you want me or one of my close friends who are teachers to handle that class online for you, go to timothyjgordon.com and click enroll. Algebra 1, Latin 1, church history, U.S. history, Catholic social teaching, Aristotle's ethics. We got it all, and we're going to be adding some more classes. I think that's just 6. There's a seventh one. We're probably going to add a Tolkien class. Scripture, that's the one I missed. Go to timothyjgordon.com and click enroll. It's starting in September, so you have plenty of time. You got 2 months. Let's make it happen, people. Also, make it happen, Captain. I will, Sergeant. Yeah, so hit like, subscribe, and click the bell for notification. Also, please, if you like this programming, see Timothy Gordon on Patreon and help. Even $5 a month does a tremendous amount. The Case for Patriarchy, my book, which is inevitable. The Case for Patriarchy is inevitable, folks, is coming out in 2 months, and it's now going to the printers, and it's inevitable, but we're going to get a lot of hate because this is the message the devil does not want coming out. It's the original sin, the overthrow of the patriarchy, the household patriarchy, and we are going to get serious flack. So we need your support. Patreon.com, Timothy Gordon. Thanks. Appreciate you. Remember, the bishops don't want pushback. Remember also, most of us fail to give adequate moral, legal pushback. What they don't want are your calls. So call them. Call them. I'm going to read this number once more. And yeah, and Steph just put it up in chat. Look, it's time to get serious. Okay.
Somebody said they hang up on you when you call.
Let's have that happen on air. Okay. So I'm calling right now. Let me I think I need a zero. I called the number. It's 608-788-7700. I'll move the mic back a little so you can.
Have some music like.
Yeah, let's get some music. Get that Jeopardy music if you can.
I don't even know how to do that.
Hold on. Might get them at their lunchtime. It's ringing. Hello. Oh, they hung up on me preemptively. Let's try one more time.
We'll just keep trying. I can keep trying for you while you're on air. Again, ladies and gentlemen, Tim is calling the diocese for Father Altman to complain about his removal. So we're seeing if we can get through.
I will. You don't have to worry. Just ringing. This is exciting television.
It's like on Seinfeld when they're like, they'll be reading on air.
They just hung up. You know, I have a theory here.
I'll keep trying.
They must have already been getting so many calls that they chickened out, I'm guessing. Look, call them, let them know. I wish I had a better number that would automatically break through. But look, here's the point. Your rage, your righteous rage should be thorough here. We knew this was coming down the pike. It's not a surprise. But nevertheless, it's quite a stark reminder where we are at in the church and the world in 2021 when you got Father James Martin, S.J., running around doing whatever the hell he pleases, which is a frightening prospect per se, but without any censure. Steph's still trying to get through, break through that line without any censure. And then Father James Altman, censured, removed. He's got elderly parents who are staying there with him, and we don't have news on what's going to happen to them. As of now, they seem to be allowed to celebrate private mass with him as the one exception, and for the time being able to remain at the parish. But other than that, this is a stiff penalty, and it just goes to show these famous last words of the conservative we laugh at, the cuckservative. Oh, what about the left's compassion now, right? The famous last words of the cuckservative would say this going to the guillotine. They don't get it. The left is not about compassion. Never was. The left is about the reign of terror, the French Revolution, the overthrow of the Jacobin clubs by the Illuminists, the kinds of things the French monk Berruel was talking about 300 years ago. This is modern leftism, cancel culture, rioting, fires, arson, burning down what they disagree with, yelling over you, attacking you. In the case of the hierarchs in the church who are leftists, firing you, getting you canceled. For what? Teaching the truth. Yeah, we can't get through. We've tried that line 4 times now. I tried once before, placed a little test call. And guess what, folks? They probably don't want to hear from you. So follow up with them. Try to call them throughout the rest of the day, the weekend, next week. They need to hear. They need to hear our voices. We're not going to take it. We're gonna ring their phones off the line and tell them, hey, I'm calling to commend you, the best priest in your diocese, Father James Altman. He's really great, and we love him.
Public relations number. Do you want to try that?
Let's try that. Can you dial that bad boy?
Yeah, let's see.
Last ditch effort. We are supporting here on Rules for Retrogrades, folks, Father James Altman, calling the public relations line of the St. James the Less Parish in the La Crosse Diocese in Wisconsin, letting him know how we feel about things. We're not too pleased. And if they won't pick up, they won't pick up. There's nothing else we can do for right now. I doubt they will.
Yeah, still ringing. Message.
Name, number, brief message. This is Timothy Gordon from Rules for Retrogrades. I was calling to get a statement, if you'd be willing to make one. I'm actually on air right now. It would be great because Father James Altman is one of the best priests I've ever seen preach on YouTube. He's not my parish priest. I live out of the diocese. I'd like to voice my support, and I would like to tell you, if you are into community relations, that people love this guy, and you guys need to support him. And the bishop has taken him out. There's nothing you can do per se, but what you need to do is be in the ear of the bishop. Let him know there's a public outcry in support of Father James Altman. We love him. We're going to be ringing your phones off the line. And hey, if you want to give a message or give any kind of statement, then you can contact me at timothyjgordon.com. I would love to talk to one of your public relations folks on the air about Father James Altman. He's a great priest. He's a hero. We support him. We're not going to go quietly into the night. God bless you, man. Deus Volt. And by the way, I'm sure the music at your parish needs some tooling up. Need to get Latin chant. God bless. Bye-bye. Okay, so that's the public relations folks. And they're gonna be real friendly when they get that message. I'm sure they will be contacting me at timothyjgordon.com immediately. Sorry.
We'll take questions.
Yeah, we'll take questions. Sure.
So people are asking how this comports with the obedience that you were talking about the other night.
Well, obedience is, I'm sure he's going to be obedient. I'm sure that Father James Altman, I feel like I'm calling him the wrong name. Father Altman, right? It's James Altman, right? It's James the Less Parish. He's ordered to not say mass publicly, not even privately, aside from his parents. He has to comply with this, right? So I'm not sure, and he ought to. Now, it doesn't make it just. This is this fine line we're talking about in the post-conciliar era, where he's not. It's not a just order, but obedience remains a thing. Therefore, we're going to fight it in obedient ways, like placing calls. How does it not comport? If you have a follow-up question or comment, that would be what I'd pitch back to you. The call of the question is, how does it not comport to say, I don't like it, I will obey, because I'm a priest of Christ, and priests of Christ are called first and foremost to obey the hierarchy, even when the hierarchy are acting like losers, which they are. So this is how one goes about obedience. Any other questions?
I'm not seeing some right now. People love to call.
Yeah, look.
Is there going to be a prayer vigil protest at his church? People are asking.
Hey, make one. If you're in his diocese, La Crosse, you got to make one. That's like me asking, hey, is anyone going to call the number? I'm telling you online, on air, whatever you call what it is to do a YouTube live stream. I'm telling you, make a call. So I did a call myself. I did it right now, people. And you should do follow-up calls. They're probably taking the phone off the hook for the next 3 or 4 days. You got to remember this next week. I'll try to remind you, and I'll do it myself. I'll do a follow-up call. Also, I'll get that call back, I'm sure, from the public relations person at the diocese. You got to let them know that this is not okay. This is not okay.
Somebody's asking, do you think one can be a bit too direct with your words? Like, I don't really disagree with Altman on what he was saying, but honey, not vinegar, right?
No. Vinegar. We're not trying to catch bees or whatever the analogy is. He was just the point, my friend, of homiletics is not to catch bees or flies or whatever insect you're hoping your honey attracts. The point of homiletics is to answer that question, quid veritas est, that Pontius Pilate mockingly threw in the face of Christ. What is truth? Well, it's to answer it literally and directly and to let your yes mean yes and your no mean no. Now, Jesus says, preach clearly in the towns, and if they won't hear you, go to the next town and kick the dust from your sandals. That's not Jesus saying modify the message such as to catch more bees or wasps or flies, is it? So that's not the true gospel. That is some probably WASP with all capital letters, white Anglo-Saxon Protestant American type saying, not usually as pithy or as folksy or as true as people assume. You catch the right flies, the ones that are hungry for the truth, with the truth. Let's let that be the watchword.
Somebody's asking, can he fight this legally?
No. Can't. I mean, it's not illegal what's happened here. You guys, obedience means he has to do what they say. Now, you can rage against the dying of the light in creative ways suggested by the moral imagination. That doesn't mean you get to disobey. This is the same thing I'm saying about the motu proprio coming down the pike. If the motu proprio is really aggressive, then the Pope, the monarch, has the plenary power to do this, to do whatever he's going to do. It's going to be terrible. We can complain about it. That doesn't violate obedience. We can let them know how unpopular this is. Doesn't violate obedience. But we can't just start pretending that, an order's not an order. Same thing with Father Altman. I hear that Twitter is continuing its banning campaign, which is interesting. It looks like Fuentes got banned. Interesting.
On Twitter?
From Twitter. Yep. Right now, breaking.
Yeah, I guess people are talking about that in chat.
Yep.
Somebody's having a problem with obedience to evil, ? They're saying, what about if your Pope or whatever is telling you to be obedient?
Got to be clear. Got to be a clear moral category, right? Like your Pope is, or priest, I'll say, is sitting there in the room with you telling you to contracept when you're committing the marital act with your wife. You don't have to do that. And they don't have the jurisdiction in most cases, and they don't really even try in most cases. Look, don't do the thing that the Christian feminists said, like, yes, we have to obey. Christian teaching is so clear that wives have to obey, but only if our husband's perfectly lordly do we have to obey, which is no one. No husband is perfectly Christly. And therefore, that would mean they never have to obey. That would be the rule that swallows the exception. Don't try that. That's a feminist technique. We do have to obey, and the bishop doesn't have to be perfect. And, we can't fight it legally. And you can't use the slippery slope argument. Oh, but bad liturgy leads people away. Lex orandi, lex credendi. That doesn't work. It just, the monarch the Bishop of Rome can set bad new liturgy, tacky new liturgy, can do what he wants. Beware monarchy, people, but we need it in the church. And this is why it's dangerous. This is why we like constitutional provisions in the secular order against monarchs, because most of them are not good. Now, in the Roman Catholic Church, we've had amazing monarchs by and large. Out of 266 popes, it's really just been a combination of Vatican I and Vatican II, Pope Paul VI and Pope Francis, that have really made us question, or made some of you question everything. Don't. I'm just saying we're stuck with the Pope, we're stuck with a monarch in the sacred order, but in the secular order, learn the lesson. This is why be wary of kings. Okay, so God bless you guys. I love each and every one of you. Thank you so much for supporting this show. Click like, subscribe, click the notification bell so that you can be not just an occasional viewer, but an every time viewer. That's what we need. This channel needs to grow. Tell your friends, support us on Patreon because we really need it. Go to timothyjgordon.com, pull your kids out of school. I will help you homeschool. Everyone who's taken my adult classes over the last year loves them. Go look at the reviews online. They're really good. timothyjgordon.com, and get out of your blue state, get to a red state. Go to realestateforlife.